Oh, we're good. All right. Oh. Whew.
Sit up here next to me.
Bill, you're good right here. You look good. Let's just wait just a few minutes. I don't know exactly what time it is. What time is it, guys? We'll wait one more minute and then start, okay? In case we're waiting for somebody. Oh. Hope y'all are doing good. Sun shining, kind of, semi. How are y'all doing? I'm good. Out of gas a little bit, but I'm good. Oh, yeah. Y'all just have to bear with it. Okay, well, let's get started, okay? Because we've got some people here that probably have more knowledge than I have, but at the same time, you know, about specific things and the impact. What we're here about today is one thing, and that is ex-Mayor Bloomberg just came out and announced that he was going to give $500 million and join with the Sahara Club and upon an effort to shut down all the coal-fired power plants in the United States by 2030, I believe. And then as soon as he gets that done, we're going to turn all the guns on oil and gas. Now, let me tell you, there's lots of things going on, and I'll be glad to answer any of your questions about anything. But we need, as journalists, I think it's really time that we get out of the drama and we focus on something that could be catastrophic to the state of West Virginia. That's all there is to it. If he's successful, and his attack primarily is to attack state legislatures and have enough influence to really, truly accomplish his end goal. His end goal is to extinguish fossil fuels. If that happens to us, we're back in the dark ages. That's all there is to it. And to think that this can be accomplished with alternative, sources, of energy, whether it be windmills or solar or whatever, of which I am an absolute proponent of. To think that that can be accomplished is ridiculous. Someday, maybe. But every day that goes by in West Virginia, we produce cleaner and cleaner coal. And every day that goes by, we are producing more and more clean natural gas. And we cannot afford this level of attack on us. Now, we can say what we want, and there's all kinds of drama out there. But this is the story, because this single-handedly destroys West Virginia. Our great coal mining families, our great pipeline people, our great oil and gas people, our great everything, all the spin-off of everything, whether it be truckers or it be the people at the 7-Elevens or whatever it be. We've just gone through the god-awfulest war on coal for the last 8 years prior to President Trump, and it almost killed us. It almost single-handedly killed us. And we're just crawling out of that terrible, terrible deal. And now, here we go again. And so We have to let our voices be heard, and I'd like you to hear from the experts. And so you guys take over from here, right over here. Y'all got to go right there to speak, one at a time. Okay. Or, you know, just Chris going, or if everybody, I mean, have you, it's your podium.
If I'm going, they're going, Governor.
Okay, good deal.
Thank you so much. I'm Chris Hamilton with the Coal Association, also with the West Virginia Business and Industry Council. And since my good friend and colleague Bill Rainey is here, I'll speak primarily from the West Virginia Business and Industry Council. We are a major trade organization across the state. We span statewide. We span some 27 different business and industry categories, representing about 400,000 workers within the state, predominantly energy and manufacturing workers, as well as retail and some sales. But nonetheless, Governor, we're so appreciative that you've elected to take this on, and we are proud to stand with you shoulder to shoulder. As you indicate, we're just showing some signs of recovery. You know, we're seeing some coal trains and some river transportation and coal mine operations pick up a little bit. There's a lot of pipelines being laid, a lot of natural gas development activity, downstream petrochemical and manufacturing operations, and there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic. But this Bloomberg attack, I mean, it's an absolute attack on our state. It's an attack on West Virginia families. It's an attack on virtually our livelihoods here. And it probably impacts north of 100,000 people collectively here within the state. And it's very sinful to see this, quite frankly. I think it's un-American that someone would use their wealth to try to destroy, you know, a major fabric of our nation and state's industrial base and try to put people out of work. As the governor indicated, we've made a lot of progress with our clean coal technologies. We've ratcheted down emissions on the order of magnitude of over 97%. You're seeing steam and water vapor come out of these stacks today. You're not seeing contaminated air. And if you were truly concerned about contaminated air or the CO2 that's being emitted, you'd go over to China and India and try to work with their issues, who consume 7 times more fossil fuel and coal than what we do. Now, with every challenge, you know, there's perhaps an opportunity. You know, I think we have an opportunity to stand shoulder and shoulder, develop coalitions across this country to basically advocate the importance of fossil fuel energy sources nationwide, worldwide. We're doing it cleaner, we're doing it very efficiently, and we continue to be better at what we do every single day. There's an abundance of research going on with West Virginia University, Department of Energy, that works every day on clean coal technologies and, again, ways to improve and to try to utilize carbon. And if you remove that completely from the nation's energy pie, then we become as a nation extremely vulnerable to national defense and homeland security issues, not alone threatening the very grid that delivers all this household and industrial technologies. So we see this as the beginning, Governor, not just the splash in the water here today, and because we got our work to do, and there truly may very well be opportunities out there, so we can begin telling our story and why it makes sense to have a reasonable amount of baseload generation. And in some ways, maybe it's good that he's picked on everybody here. Not just coal, but natural gas and manufacturing and coal transportation workers and anybody and everybody, across the heartland of America that relies on energy for a paycheck and to support their families. I really appreciate the opportunity, Governor, to stand with you here today and to be part of your program. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Charlie Bird. I'm the Executive Director of the Independent Oil and Gas Association of West Virginia. We're about a 600-member trade association of oil and gas producers and companies that serve them. I really didn't come really prepared much to make comments, but I am glad to be here so that I can tell you just a little bit about the natural gas industry. And one has to agree with Governor Justice. This is an attack on affordable energy, in my opinion. Natural gas in this state, we produced 1.7 trillion cubic feet of natural gas last year. It's clean, it's energy efficient. We do it in a safe manner. We employ about 17,000 workers directly, double that when you include induced and indirect. That's about 35,000 jobs for hardworking West Virginians, and we're proud to be here. We're proud to provide energy for our state and for our nation. It's just unfathomable that we would be take our industry that we rely on here, our extractive industries, and shut them down. Ioga is all about being an all-in energy state. We need natural gas, we need oil, we need coal, we need renewables. There's no question all of those make for a great mix in our state. But it's hard to deny that companies like Antero Resources, Chevron, Dominion, Southwestern Energy, XTO, BP, and others who operate here in the state have already gone public. They've already made decisions to reduce their emissions, even more than they've reduced. Chris referred to 97% since, what, about 1970 or whenever the last Clean Air Act was. Those are astounding numbers. And there's other companies I didn't mention. And not only are they reducing emissions, but they're also using additives to produce oil and natural gas that are much better and more environmentally friendly now than they ever have been. The U.S. EPA annual report entitled Our Nation's Air, just pulled this off, confirmed that between 1990 and 2017, concentrations of greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S. have dropped significantly. Specifically to us, methane emissions from domestic onshore oil and natural gas production fell 24%, even though production rose by 65% on the oil side and 19% on the gas side. We are producing more than we've ever produced, and we are doing it much cleaner than we've ever done before. And we continue to make improvements. Drilling technology's changed, air emission technology's changed, it'll all get better. I will conclude with this. Fossil fuels, this is from the Energy Information Administration, says that fossil fuels, natural gas, coal, and petroleum, produced 64% of our electricity in 2018. 64%. There's another 20% that comes from nuclear. Maybe that's where New York gets most of their power. I'm not sure. Renewables account for 17%. And of that 17%, hydro and wind are 13.6. So the difference, another 3.5%, is everything else. Biomass is 6, and solar is 1.6. I prefer, as the governor said, not to be in the dark ages. I don't prefer to be huddled up, freezing to death in the dark. I like to be warm in the winter. And I like to have light when it gets dark, if I so choose to have light. And this is what it's about, Governor. It's about affordable energy. Sure. And being able to stay in the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Ann Blankenship, and I am the Executive Director of the West Virginia Oil and Natural Gas Association. Thank you, Governor, for allowing the industry representatives to come and speak out against the Beyond Carbon initiative. We stand together with coal on this, that we're very disappointed to hear about the attack on the fossil fuels here in West Virginia. I echo all of what Mr. Bird said, representing IOGA of West Virginia, the other oil and gas trade association here. I echo all of his comments. Wabonga, together with Ioga, represents more than 85% of the natural gas developed and produced here in West Virginia. So I think we can adequately speak on behalf of those folks. You know, first of all, the Beyond Carbon campaign really is quite scary for the hundreds of thousands of jobs that the coal industry and the natural gas industry have created over the entire country. And it will put all of those into great jeopardy. Here in West Virginia, for the oil and natural gas industry, as Mr. Byrd alluded to, the companies here have already made great commitments to reducing carbon emissions, and they've been doing it for years, and they're going to keep on doing it. And in fact, they are a big part of the carbon reduction story. The statistics that Mr. Byrd gave to you are straight from EPA, and they're pretty astounding. The fact that we've increased natural gas production significantly, and at the same time, methane emissions have reduced by 28% over the past decade. So we are part of the story here. We're part of the answer, we're part of the solution, but even more importantly, we're a low-cost provider of natural gas. If we take that away, we're going to prohibit people from being able to get electricity and heat their homes, especially for those in low-income areas. And that's certainly not what we want to happen in West Virginia or other parts of the country. In fact, the Beyond Carbon initiative is unrealistic in that regard. The cost of creating electricity based on renewables alone is astounding. It's just not feasible. And add to that the idea that even to manufacture them, you need petroleum products, which are created by natural gas. So we have to be part of that equation. And because of that, we just cannot support the Beyond Carbon initiative. We stand with the governor, and we appreciate the opportunity to speak out against it today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sammy Gray with Firstenergy Corporation. We have 2 electric utilities in West Virginia that serve right at 540,000 customers. And 86% of our generation for those customers is made with coal. It's affordable, it's reliable, and we burn it as clean as we can. Our industry and our company spent billions of dollars to ensure we put environmental controls on our power plants to ensure that we get the most efficient and cleanest way to burn coal and provide electricity to our customers. Also, with the natural gas industry booming in the state, that industry has become some of our largest customers, and because of that, and you put their industry into the mix, it's helped bring down electric rates for all of our customers in our service territory in West Virginia. So with fossil fuels, both not only as our fuel, but also as our future and our largest customer base, we're seeing a growth with that customer base in the oil and gas industry in the state, and it's helping everyone with a lot of development and growth, particularly in north central West Virginia. I know what everyone said, particularly the Coal Association, we try to burn it cleaner, we try to do it cheaper, and our electric rates in West Virginia are cheaper than every surrounding state except Kentucky. We're well below the national average. And we do that while burning 86% of our fuel as coal. So we burn it clean as we can, we burn it efficiently, and we provide reliable power to our customers by using coal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, all the smart folks have talked, and you've gotten all the numbers from them. The thing that absolutely amazes me, first of all, thank you, Governor, and President Trump, because I'm telling you, we've been crawling our way back from the Obama administration and Hillary Clinton's trip to Logan County, and we thought we were beyond that. And then this old boy comes along, and you know, I told Mark it's a limousine liberal, and that's what happens when he turns loose and doesn't care a thing about West Virginia. I'm Bill Rainey. I'm with the Coal Association. We represent about 90% of the coal that's produced here in the state. We have right at 13,000 direct coal miners. We have about 50,000 when you put the contractors with it. So, you know, this fella, I told Mark he was, as best I know, he was talking to a graduating class, and he'd been a whole lot better off having done what the other guy did a couple of weeks before, and that's pay off those kids' student loans as opposed to trying to take our folks' jobs. We got a target now, and it's awful for somebody to stand outside West Virginia and want to destroy our economy, as the governor says. And I'm telling you, between the governor and President Trump and the legislative leadership, we're beginning to get our feet back under us here. And we don't need this sort of thing. So I would have much rather seen $500 million committed to let's fix coal if he thinks there's something wrong with it, then let's fix it the way he thinks it needs to be fixed, because America has more coal than any other country in the world. President Trump recognizes that, Governor Justice recognizes that, and the legislative leadership have done what they can to help us along the way. We want to mine 100 to 120 million tons of coal every year, and we want to make electricity. And just as all of them said, Charlie said that, you know, when it's dark, we want light. When it's cold, we want heat. And we think the best way to do that is with our oil and gas and our coal. And we know how to do it. And Sammy and his folks at Firstenergy and AEP know how to convert it to something that is very, very usable. So, Governor, I appreciate very much being part of it. We're very proud of the people we represent, the industry that's here, and we want to make sure that we continue to recover from the 8 years that we had with the Obama administration. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, let me just wrap up this part and just say just this. You know, whether it be Ann or Sammy or Charlie or Chris or Bill, I can't fathom, if we just think of the number of people that they represent and families that they represent in West Virginia. It's unbelievable. I just think about this. At some point in time, we got to make a stand, and we got to make a choice. We got to make a choice. We got to make a choice either to stand with our president or to stand for some way out philosophy that's just a maybe land. America, every day, cleans itself up more and more and more. Now, you tell me, just make, I'm an easy guy that can summarize so quickly. How does it make sense that in China, they're burning 7 to 8 times the amount of coal that we're burning in the United States? How in the world does it make sense for us to blow our legs off and them just burn more? How does it make any sense to do that? I mean, really, at the end of the day, their stuff's going right up in the sky, and it's going round and round and round and round and round, the same deal. Why should we not? Why should we not continue to try to do everything that we're doing in an all-in strategy, whether it be coal or oil or gas, or it may, or it be biomass or solar or wind? We're all for that. Every last one of us here is for that. But what we're saying is, here you've got a New York super liberal that lives in an absolute bubble. That's all there is to it. And it says, I'm going to donate $500 million. Sounds like all the money in the world, and it could cripple us. It really could. This New York liberal, I'm going to donate $500 million, and I think his wealth is $54 billion. Now think about it. He's going to donate 1/98 of his money. 1/98 of his money. It's nothing. It's nothing to him. He knows it's nothing to him, but it could destroy us. Now, I'm going to tell you, you better listen to me on this. I've told you many, many times I'm here for one reason alone, and I am damn proud of our coal miners and our gas workers and our drillers and our truckers and everything else, and I am damn proud of West Virginia. That's all there is to it. And absolutely, I can't see in any way, shape, form, or fashion, nor do these people see in any way, shape, form, or fashion, we need to let some bubble boy that's in New York that's giving a fraction of his money and everything destroy us. That's what we're saying. That's all there is to it. Now, I guess we'll take your questions as best we can.
Have you spoken with President Trump since Bloomberg made this announcement on
I
Friday?
have not.
Do you intend to? And what-
With no question whatsoever. I have spoken with the Trump aides. I have not spoken directly to the president.
Hey, Governor, my understanding is that Mr. Bloomberg intends to put that $500 million toward lobbyists and people with a green platform as they run for office. I see quite a few bright, articulate people who are ready to defend the coal and gas industry. Are we defenseless? Is that what we're saying?
No, I think this. I think $500 million placed in the right spots across this country, could end up resulting in a situation to where we could become defenseless. $500 million in the right spots, the right ads, the right elected majorities and everything, before you know it, we could be just a memory. That's all there is to it. That's the play. That's exactly the play. The play is not to try to develop, wind and solar better. The play is not to try to, find a way to have more clean coal. The play is to extinguish fossil fuels, extinguish them, because they don't believe it. They just don't believe it. Well, they're only going to extinguish them with us. Well, what happens, just think about this. What happens if the wind doesn't blow? What happens really and truly if all of a sudden we have some level of attack on whatever it may be on our grid? And I'll promise you this, the most green thinking, super liberal that lives in a bubble, as soon as they get cold, or as soon as they get so hot that they can't stand it, or as soon as they can't absolutely have the refrigerator running, they change their mind real fast. Real fast. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Realistically, with coal producing 32 to 36% of the nation's power.
Right.
And petroleum and coal and natural gas, as he said, about 2/3, about 64%. But realistically, what can $500 million do? They've spent billions to prop up renewable sources, which haven't made a dent. So what do? You turn off the lights for 8 hours a day? And what can happen by 2030? What's your biggest fear?
What happened to us when Obama was elected?
We're still burning it.
What happened to this state when Obama was elected? I mean, sure, I'm afraid. Go to a coal miner family and ask that question, Kenny. Well, can it hurt us any at all? What happened when President Obama was elected? Absolutely, we went into cut budgets, not fixing our roads, absolutely our coal miners not working. What happened? And this guy is more dangerous than that.
Governor, if I may.
What replaces
Sure,
it? That's
sure.
the question.
We-
There's nothing to replace it.
When we were in the year 6.5, 7, within the 8-year war on coal, we had 6 or 7 West Virginia southern counties that had unemployment levels that exceeded what they were during the Great Depression. And these counties are still broke, and they're just showing some signs of recovery. And the other thing, Kenny, that people need to realize, put a face on these numbers we throw out here. It is patently unfair for these coal mining families that have 2, 3 dependents, trying to send 1 or 2 through Marshall and WVU, to have to worry about whether or not they're going to have a job next week. I mean, just think of the household stress that creates day after day after. That's my biggest concern. I don't think Bloomberg can succeed. I think his program is flawed. I think it's nonsensical. But I'm worried about our miners that'll get a daily dosage of bashing coal, bashing fossil fuels from now to when the cows come back up.
Well, and let me add this. I got to add one thing to this. Whether or not it makes sense, it doesn't make sense at all to me. I mean, it doesn't make sense to you, Kenny. I mean, you're a smart guy and everything. I mean, a really smart guy. But it doesn't make sense to you from the standpoint of, well, 36% of the nation's using coal today and whatever. How could we just go away from that? Well, it doesn't make any sense. But you know what? If today if today, knowing what Michael Bloomberg knows about how our power is produced, today, if they could do it, they'd shut it all down right now. They'd shut every bit of it down right now. That's just how out there they are. Go ahead.
I was looking at Forbes this morning. Taylor Kirkendall tweeted this out, but the most recent FERC numbers for total available installed generating capacity, they had coal sitting at about 21.55%, natural gas sitting at about 44.44%, just short of 45. I can't add up all these numbers in my head, but at least for renewables, they look like they come pretty close to the coal fire generation. I only bring that up just to say it would appear, especially the last couple of years, that even without Obama regulations, free market seems to be pushing the power generating industry towards natural gas power, and that seems to bear out in these numbers. It's possible, do you think it's possible that the Bloomberg campaign might just already be trying to push coal-powered fired power plants over a cliff, but can't really do a whole lot as far as pushing natural gas out as a power source?
Well, Stephen, let me, I think you make some good sense in what you're saying. I believe that, I believe if you look at the renewables, the first thing, the thing that you've got, everyone here needs to understand is I think every single person here, I know me, we're all for the renewables. Every one of us are for the renewables. And every day that the renewables grow and everything, more power to us. Everybody's for that. We're for the gas and we're for the coal. But we're for the sense. We're for the good sense. And we're for defending West Virginia. That's what we're for. We're for defending West Virginia. And we're for good logic and good sense. Now, there may be a day, we don't think it's going to ever happen in our lifetimes. There may be a day in this country when truly renewables can rule the day. But for God's sakes of living, we don't want America and we don't want West Virginia to crumble to our knees because of some bubble boy's idea.
Governor, I have to ask a political question here because I realize you're trying to circle the wagons and get a lot of support here. You've got a lot of infighting in your own party. This morning, Senator Blair calling for you to resign. You've been critical of President Carmichael. He's been critical of you. How do you circle the wagons and get support for to fight an initiative like this when you're having such division and derision in your own party?
Well, let me say this. First of all, division within our own party, the Republican Party, is not good. It's not good. That's all there is to it. And to be perfectly honest, I think of Craig Blair and Mitch as halfway friends. The problem that I have is just one thing and one thing alone. I think they've dug themselves a hole, and I'm not going to help them dig. That's all there is to it. I think absolutely they've dug themselves a hole that the people of West Virginia don't like. And now they want to maybe beat on me. But the other thing I can't do is this. I can never not tell you the truth. Now just listen, there's more than just this example. But we sat right over at the mansion 6 weeks before the 2018 election. And I said to him, I think we've got the money to be able, because there was a lot of unrest and a lot of problems and everything. I think we've got the money to do another 5% pay raise for all of our state employees. And I think we've got the money to do $100 million in PEIA. And I want you to go and think about this. I want no strings attached. I want us as a Republican Party to own this issue. I want no strings attached. You go think about it. Well, they came back and they said, we're in. And we all came right here and we stood. We stood shoulder to shoulder. We said we're going to do a 5% pay raise and $100 million for PEIA. And then what happened? Again, let's tell the truth. We walked into the session and they introduced the Republicans, and Craig Blair is a bully. That's all there is to it. a bully. And they introduced a 138-page omnibus bill. I can't ever pronounce that word. And they never one time even told the governor about it. Now look, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I just do it. That's all there is to it. If you're going to change your mind, that's okay. But you're surely to goodness, I at least deserve somebody to come back to me and tell me about it. Same thing happened just the other day. We sat at the mansion, and President Carmichael told me point blank, we are not going to run education savings accounts. They're out of the whole deal. And what did they do? They ran education savings accounts. And then of all things, I was up in the hallway, and it just so happened that the union leaders were there and a bunch of the union people were there, or the teachers were there, and I stayed outside because I thought really and truly that you know, Senate membership and everything was dismissing and everything, and I wanted to go up there and just mingle around and be with everybody. And then after the union leader spoke, Dale Lee, I just walked out there to say hi to everybody, and here's exactly what I said. I said, you need to be respectful of the other side's opinion. And they need to be respectful of you. I didn't make any commitment in any way other than to say, I hate like crazy we're spending the taxpayers' dollars and we're not going anywhere here because we just passed education savings accounts. We're going to send them right over to the House, and there's no way on earth it's going to go anywhere. Now, the other thing is the extracurricular stuff. I sat with the caucuses of both, and here's what I said to both. I said, I'm not going to address seniority or charter schools with you in any way. You do whatever is you know, driving your heart to do that in every way. But I said, I am going to address the extracurricular stuff because here's how I feel. Explain one thing to me. Why would we be hitting back at the unions at the sacrifice of our kids? I'm no more a union guy. I'm a Republican through and through. I am not a union guy, but I believe that I should be talking to the unions and we should all be trying to work together. You know, why would you put something in that would say, here's the deal. Now, here's exactly what we did. We said, if there's a work stoppage, we're going to stop all extracurricular activities. What if there was a national chess competition? What if there was a state basketball tournament, and we had a work stoppage, and the Charleston Marriott and all these people here and everything, they have the Civic Center booked the next 8 weeks in a row. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Just shut it down in order to make the unions look like they're at fault or hit back at them? Let me ask you one more question. What are we going to do if Kenny's boy is playing football at Fairmont Senior and we haven't practiced for 10 days? 10 days we haven't practiced. And then all of a sudden we go back to work and Kenny's boy goes right back in the game and hadn't practiced for 10 days and boom, down he goes with an ACL blown out or whatever. Why would we do that? Why in the world would we do this? You know, when we came out with that omnibus bill, we put our kids out of school for 10 days and 10,000 people down here. And then the last of the last is this, and you say, I'm hitting back. All I did was not invite somebody to my fundraiser. That's all I did. You know, I haven't criticized these people individually in any way, nor will I. Nor will I. I am not doing that because the Republicans need to come together. But you need me to lead. And if the Republicans are being led right off a cliff that's going to cause damage to them, and I don't believe it, and I know it, then you need me to lead. Now, at the end of the day, when we threw a 138-page omnibus bill out there, what happened? Kids were not in school. Parents were affected. 10,000 people down here going crazy. Do you think that's good for the Republican Party? If you do, you're really out there on a limb. That's not good for the Republican Party in this state. That's not good for West Virginia. And absolutely, we've got too good a story to be telling, to go down that path. Donald Trump, and I stand shoulder to shoulder, bound at the hip with one another. And if you think anything otherwise, you're really wrong. And there's so many good things that are right on our fingertips that can happen in West Virginia. And the other flip side of it is you elected me to lead you somewhere. And I have. And anybody in the world that can go out anywhere, if you're just fair, things are better. There's still lots to do, but things are better. And in this business guy that built an empire from his grandparents that didn't have indoor plumbing, there's lots and lots and lots of activities. You need to quit worrying about my stuff. You need to just worry about what's going on with this state. I've got good people that are running my stuff, and lots of them. You need to quit worrying about my stuff and the drama. What we need to do is just lead, and that's what I'm trying to do, and we've done it. We've done it. My dad would say, in its own way, it's done, done. It's done, done. Drive anywhere and look. Go anywhere. Ask any of these people. Be fair. That's all I'm saying.
So what's your direct response to Senator Blair and his call for your resignation?
It's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous. Craig is trying to be a bully. He's trying to yell. And there's a lot, I mean, listen, Craig's a good man. I'm going to tell you that. Mitch is a good man. They've got themselves going in a direction here that is wrong, and they're getting deeper and deeper in the hole, and I'm not going to help them dig. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I know what the people think. We just did a poll with the Trump people that was as in-depth as you could do anything in the world. Honestly, honest and true, costs more money than probably any poll that's ever been done in West Virginia ever, ever. What that poll tells us was just as simple as this. The people of West Virginia overwhelmingly don't want anything to do with charter schools. I'm the guy, again, I'm the guy that said we can get 2 or 3 pilot charter schools. Am I not that guy? I'm the guy that said we could get there. Now, we've got it so whipped up that the word charter scares people totally to death. I don't know that that's bad or good. All I'm saying is we could have gotten 2 or 3 pilot charter schools. We need to focus on this in education, and that's all there is to it. We need to focus on the 1,400, school aid, formula in the counties that have trouble there. We need to absolutely talk about the nurses and the psychologists and the counselors in the schools. We need to give math incentives. We need to have a couple more challenge academies. And we need to give the supplies to the teachers and that kind of stuff. And then be happy. Be happy. And move forward. Because my last comment is just one thing, and that's all, and this is all there is to it. I've been in schools a lot. And I'm going to tell you that sure, there's real reform that needs to take place. Did you hear that? There's real reform that needs to take place, and absolutely we all want to be better and better and better and better. But I'm going to tell you this, there's a heck of a lot of good stuff going on in our schools. That's all there is to it. I'm there all the time. There's a heck of a lot of good stuff in our schools. And the last of my last is just this. If you factor in, Betsy DeVos told me the other day, and she got out way over her skis, to tell you the truth. Way, way, way over her skis. I think the Trump people, I know, she was way over her skis. But here's the deal. She told me that West Virginia, we're 38th in the nation. Now let's again be fair. All I'm asking is be fair. In the state of West Virginia, forever, just to tell it like it is, I don't think we've received our fair share of federal dollars. We have never received our fair share of federal dollars. We sold our votes in order to empower ourselves as we went forward. We absolutely remained dead last in everything coming or going. Now, the next thing is we were almost conditioned to think that we were because of the jokes and everything that went on, we were almost conditioned to believe that we were not deserving or backward or whatever it may be. And now today, we have the state's #1, West Virginia being #1 in drugs in the nation. Now factor them in. We never got our right money. We were forced to believe that we were backward, and now we got the worst drug addiction in the nation. 38th? 38th? I would say we want to be 6th. But 38th, considering those obstacles, you'd have to say there's a bunch of good stuff going on in the schools. That's all there is to it. Now, go to something else, please.
Getting back to beyond carbon, you've discussed some of the economic impacts of this $500 million expenditure, but I believe the reason he's doing it is to curtail climate change before we reach a point of no return from burning fossil fuels. What's your response on that side of the equation, that this is an environmental issue?
You know, Phil, I love you, and I do. But I want you to just know this, and I want you to just think real simple about this. We got a family right out there that's got a hard hat on, they're going to work, and they need a job. They need a job real bad. In China today, there's 8 times stuff goes up in the sky. You tell me how, if we cut back even more, even though we've been tremendously successful, how are we going to help that equation? Now, another way I can explain this is this. It's awful. George Clooney goes out on his back door, or his balcony, and he says there's no good for nothing fossil fuel producers and everything, and they're killing the earth and everything else. And he looks and he can't see across his street because of the smog. And then all of his crap floats up in the air, and it comes across these wonderful hardwood trees, and we clean it up for him. Doesn't make any sense to me. Now, at some point in time, there'll be real data that will make us all believe there's either got to be a real urgency worldwide for climate, change, or there won't be. But I'm not about to blow West Virginia's legs off because of some theory that somebody wants to do in New York. God, I'm getting wound up. Y'all got to calm me down.
Do you believe in climate change?
I think there's reason to have additional real study, but to just be as honest as I know how to be. I see the severe weather, and I'm not a weather studier, to know what happened 100 years ago or 100 years before that or 100 years before that. But it is something that we need to have ongoing studies about. But do I believe, if the question would have been this, do I believe if we don't act on climate change today, in 12 years the planet is going to implode? Are you kidding me? Really? Really? I mean, God above made this planet, and he made us, and there is no chance on this planet that has that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen.
Governor, you are chief executive and the leader, but there have been some situations on your private business side recently, some federal court things and some county court actions, and I'm wondering about what is the situation with your businesses and their ability to pay.
Our businesses are doing better right now than they have done for the last probably 6 years. Way better. We still are awaiting a settlement on an insurance claim on the Greenbrier that is really impairing the Greenbrier. That's all there is to it. Our businesses are doing great from the standpoint of over the last 6 years, but you know, and I say it all the time, never have gotten much credit for this, but really and truly, electing not to take bankruptcy wasn't a bad eggs. You know, financially was probably a really bad move. But a lot of people got paid. A lot of people got paid. At some point in time, and in the very near future here, I want to do this. I want to be able to present to you the taxes that not only that I've paid fairly, whatever tax is owed, I need to pay it, absolutely. But I want to present to you the taxes that I paid for somebody else. I want to present to you the work that I've done for other people. You know, people that our federal government was letting go, and then all of a sudden when the per se billionaire got it, things really changed. And changed at a terrible time. Made it really hard. Really hard. But no, our businesses are doing really good. Things are getting paid, and I think, and I've gone through a heck of a 2 weeks, I'll give you that, or maybe a heck of a month and a half or whatever, or maybe 2 months. And you know, when you were criticized before to not, why didn't you put stuff in a blind trust? Would it have ever mattered? At the end of the day, would it have ever mattered? I mean, it would have been, well, it's the justice companies, you know, or somebody may say, well, why, let me just ask this, Governor, why didn't you just, why take all the grief and everything that comes with it? Why didn't you just pay it? Why didn't you just pay it right off the get-go? Well, think about this now. I've got to tell you, while you're here, let me just walk you through just this one thing. We bought back Justice Energy from the Russians. Now, there was a company, and just about only probably a week ago now, did I know who James River was. I thought James River was the group that bought out the former Buck Harless mines. But James River is an equipment company. And we sold James River a year and a half ago our John Deere business. And we get along great with those people. I had no idea who James River was. Now stay with me here and then let me just ask you a question, what you would have done. All right, James River was owed $200,000. From what I understand, there was an offer made to them through the Russian lawyer to take $30,000 a month for 6 months, and they agreed to do it. You know, they said great, because they knew they weren't going to get a penny from the Russians. It's a Russian debt. It's not a Jim debt. It's a Russian debt. This is a Russian debt that they did in 2013 or 11 or whatever. It's a Russian debt. Now, so nevertheless, when we got it, we paid James River off completely. The document that they agreed to went to the lawyer, and we never knew about it. So they agreed to a settlement of $180,000, and Justice sent them $200,000. It's the craziest thing in the world. It's like, Kenny, I'll sell you my bicycle for $20, and you say, no, I'm going to give you $30. That's exactly what happened. And so we paid it off in full. They wrote a letter to the judge. They wrote the letter to the judge and said, we're paid off in full, everybody's happy as can be. Then the court sent letters to the Russian lawyer and said, you got to come to court. And we didn't have any idea they existed. Now, then the court sent another letter that says, you're going to get fined, for contempt of court if you don't appear. Now, guys, let's just tell it like it is. I mean, there's a Democrat swamp, and there's a Republican wannabe swamp, and there's swamps around here that are dangerous, But now let's just again stay with that. Stuff went to a Russian lawyer, and at that point in time, when we found out about it, we said, for God's sakes, a living, you're sending letters to somebody that we can't even get in touch with ourselves. How should we be responsible for sanctions that are outrageous sanctions? Outrageous sanctions. On a $200,000 claim, $1,200,000. And so we tried to negotiate and work, and every day you're in the paper and the paper and the paper. And you tell me, if you say to justice, well, why didn't you just pay it? Would you? Would you pay it? I mean, for crying out loud, if you got a speeding ticket for $100 and the judge sent something to a Russian lawyer and said, if you don't show up, I'm going to charge you $5,000 a day, and then they came to you and said, your $100 speeding ticket, you owe the court $100,000. Would you pay it? Just pay it because it may get in the paper? For crying out loud. I mean, it's just tough. But at the end of the day, I would say to you one thing. Don't worry about my stuff. Don't worry about my businesses. Don't worry about a thing in the world except this state. That's what you should be focused on, this state. Because things are going to be fine in my business world, and this state's going to be fine too. And the thing that is the bottom line to what I'm saying, and I hope you hear me to the rooftops on this. The guy that started with no indoor plumbing and the guy that built an empire is the guy you employed to pull our state out of bankruptcy, and I did it. I did it. And we're cooking. That's all there is to it. Now, sure, there's some warts along the way, but we're cooking. The guy that you said, I'm going to hand the keys over to, was a business guy, not a politician, a business guy, and said, take us somewhere, Governor. And I did. And there's a long way to go, a long way of goodness to go. Without any question, the Republicans need to be together. Not only that, the Democrats, Republicans, and independents need to be together. But if you expect me to just sit back and not lead, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lead. I'm going to lead all the time.
How do you plan on repairing this relationship within your own party?
Well, again, there's only one side hitting back. The only thing in the world I've done is said, listen, Donald Trump and I believe we're going this way. And if you believe you're going another way, it's just best that we don't invite from the standpoint of why invite? Just to cause more of a fuss and them say, no, we don't want to come? You could have looked at this. Why put them in an awkward position? Just don't invite. That's the only thing I've done. And I think about it. The last tidbit that happened from the Senate, other than not telling me, if you're going to tell me something, then tell me the truth. And if you got to change it, just come and tell me. They didn't do that. I told you that. They did not do that. But in addition to all that, unprecedented. What did they do? They released our revenue numbers. When has that ever been done before? It's just petty stuff. It's just petty. That's all there is to it. We got to get past all this. That's all there is to it. And I don't want to see our Republican Party and all the goodness and gains that we've made thrown away because we're running in the wrong direction. That's all there is to it. I hope to goodness that we'll be able to get this drama past us and say we do have a differentiation of opinion, but let's get the best deal that we can get with this education thing, put it to bed, go on down the road. I mean, for crying out loud, that's the best. That's the very best for everybody. For everybody. I'm sorry y'all had to listen to all that. All right, we're done. Thank y'all.